How to Detox Your Mind, Chapter 1. The Mental Pollution You Don't See. We live in a world where detoxing the body has become trendy. From juice cleanses to fasting routines, everyone is focused on eliminating physical toxins. But what about our minds? What about the mental clutter, the emotional waste, the toxic thoughts, the endless noise that fills our heads from the moment we wake up? Mental pollution is real. And more than that, it's invisible. You can't see a negative thought build up like you would see fat on the body. You can't weigh the burden of chronic stress on a scale. But it's there. And it's silently affecting how we think, feel, and behave every single day. Let's begin at the root. The modern mind in crisis. Your brain was not designed for the digital age. Evolution equipped us with a mind that thrived in simplicity, short bursts of focus, long periods of rest, face-to-face communication, and moments of silence. But today, the average person consumes more information in a single day than someone in the 15th century would in an entire year. That's not growth. That's overload. We wake up to a screen. We fall asleep to a screen. And in between, our attention is fractured into hundreds of pieces, notifications, headlines, arguments, distractions. Each one pulling at your mind, demanding your attention, leaving no space for stillness. This constant stimulation floods your brain with dopamine, creating cycles of craving. You check your phone not because there's something important, but because you've trained yourself to expect a reward. And when it doesn't come, anxiety creeps in. That anxiety builds. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to live in a state of mental agitation. This is the first form of pollution, overstimulation. It might seem harmless, but when the mind is overstimulated, it loses its ability to focus. It becomes reactive, emotional, tired. You feel it when you struggle to concentrate, when silence feels uncomfortable, when the thought of boredom scares you. That's the cost of a constantly stimulated mind. It forgets how to be still. Toxic inputs. What are you consuming? Let's go deeper. Every day your mind consumes not just food or water, but information, language, energy. Every word you hear, every video you watch, every person you interact with is either nourishing your mind or polluting it. We rarely stop to consider the mental impact of our environment. Think about your daily digital diet. How much of it is designed to inform and elevate you? And how much is crafted to manipulate, to outrage, to distract? Toxic consumption doesn't just come from negative media. It comes from gossip, from complaining, from fear-based thinking, from comparison on social media. It comes from spending time around people who drain your energy, who reinforce limitation, who keep you mentally stuck. And just like unhealthy food can make your body sick over time, unhealthy input can make your mind sick too. It doesn't happen in one day. It's a slow buildup, like plaque on the brain. And eventually, you start to forget who you really are. You forget your clarity, your vision, your peace. The invisible impact of mental toxins. Mental toxins are sneaky. They don't announce themselves. They blend into your routine. You think that scrolling through social media for hours is just normal behavior, but underneath it, you're reinforcing feelings of inadequacy, envy, or even loneliness. You think staying updated on the latest news is responsible, but underneath, you're carrying chronic fear, stress, and emotional exhaustion. You think multitasking is efficient, but in truth, it's destroying your cognitive sharpness and mental energy. And all of this leads to a mind that is cluttered, distracted, emotional, reactive. It becomes harder to make clear decisions, harder to connect with people, harder to just sit in silence without needing a distraction. A polluted mind doesn't recognize peace. It seeks stimulation. This is why detoxing your mind is not a luxury, it's a necessity. The symptoms of a polluted mind. How do you know your mind needs a detox? You feel constantly tired even after rest. You can't concentrate for long without switching tasks. You feel overwhelmed by simple decisions. You experience frequent anxiety even when nothing is wrong. You feel empty after hours of scrolling through your phone. You have trouble sleeping or your mind races at night. You feel emotionally reactive and impatient. You feel disconnected from your deeper self, your intuition, your inner calm. These are not random symptoms. They are signals. They are your mind's way of telling you, I am overloaded. I need space. I need silence. I need clarity. The foundation of mental clarity, awareness. The first step in detoxing your mind is awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. So take a moment to reflect. What are you consuming daily? Who are the voices you're listening to most? When was the last time you had an hour of silence without a screen? Are your thoughts mostly empowering or draining? Are you actively choosing your mental inputs, or are they being chosen for you? Be honest. Because the truth is, most of your mental habits were inherited, not chosen. You picked up the way you think from your environment, your family, culture, media, school. But if it was learned, it can be unlearned. That is the key to mental detox, conscious reprogramming. But before you can reprogram, you must remove the noise. The danger of background noise. There is a kind of noise that's louder than sound. It's mental noise. Mental noise is the constant chatter in your head. The worrying, the what-ifs, the self-doubt, the need to constantly be doing something. Most people live with this noise constantly without even noticing it. They go from task to task, distracted by external things, while internally their mind is spinning with thoughts they didn't choose. This is dangerous, because it keeps you disconnected from your inner wisdom. You cannot hear your intuition if your mind is too loud. You cannot feel peace if your thoughts are chaotic. You cannot be creative if your attention is scattered. That's why silence is essential. Not just external silence, but internal. The goal is not to have no thoughts. The goal is to create space between your thoughts. To become the observer of your mind instead of the prisoner of it. That's where true mental clarity begins. Mental minimalism, clearing the clutter. Just like you would declutter a messy room, you must declutter your mental space. Start with this question: what can I remove? Might be a toxic relationship, a draining habit, a social media app, a news source, an internal narrative of limitation. Clearing mental space isn't about doing more. It's about doing less with intention. When you remove what drains you, you make space for what nourishes you. You create mental bandwidth. You create clarity. And from that clarity, you can begin to rebuild. You don't need to fill every moment with noise. In fact, the most important moments of your life will come from the quiet, the power of stillness. In a world that never stops, stillness is rebellion. But stillness is not passive. It's active presence. It is choosing to be here, now, without distraction. It is observing your thoughts without being controlled by them. It is creating space between stimulus and response. In that space, you reclaim your power. Stillness allows you to feel, to process, to reconnect. And it is in stillness where your true mind detox begins. Conclusion: the first step is saying yes. Mental detox is not a quick fix. It's a process. It requires discipline, honesty, and commitment. But more than anything, it requires a willingness to change. You don't have to fix everything at once. Just begin by noticing, by questioning, by creating space. Because once you become aware of the mental pollution in your life, you can no longer ignore it. You are not your thoughts. You are not your environment. You are not your past. You are the observer, the architect, the one who chooses. So choose to detox your mind. Choose silence over noise, clarity over chaos, presence over distraction. This is the beginning.
Chapter 2. Digital Overload and the Illusion of Connection. We live in the most connected era in human history, and yet, many people have never felt so alone. We're always online. Always reachable. Our screens light up with faces, voices, opinions, and updates from every corner of the planet. We scroll, swipe, tap, and share. But the question remains. If we're so connected, why do we feel so disconnected inside? This is the paradox of the digital world. A paradox that has created not only a social crisis but a deep mental and emotional one. And at the center of this crisis is something we often fail to recognize: digital overload. The invisible weight of a constant connection. Every time your phone buzzes, Every time you get a notification, every time you check a message, your brain is triggered. Dopamine is released. You feel a momentary spike of attention, a false sense of urgency. And your body reacts. Just like it would if you were being chased. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived digital one. That work email at midnight? Your body treats it like a survival situation. That angry comment on social media? It triggers a fight or flight response. That overwhelming flood of news, updates, and opinions? It drowns your capacity to focus. The result? A brain that's always on edge. A nervous system that's always alert. A heart that never rests. You wake up with your phone. You go to bed with your phone. You take it into the bathroom. Into conversations. Into your meals. Into your mind. You don't use your phone. It uses you. The myth of multitasking. We've been told we can do it all. Listen to music while responding to messages. Watch a video while writing an email. Scroll through social media while half listening to a conversation. But the brain doesn't multitask. It switches rapidly between tasks, and every time it does, it pays a price. That price is called cognitive fatigue. It's what makes you feel drained after a day of not doing much. It's what makes you forget simple things. What makes it hard to focus. What makes your creativity and clarity suffer. And yet, we keep doing it. Because we've become addicted, not just to the stimulation, but to the illusion of productivity. But if you want to detox your mind, the first thing you need to accept is this. Busyness is not effectiveness. Noise is not knowledge. Constant connection is not real connection. Loneliness in a crowded room. Let's talk about one of the deepest wounds of our time, loneliness. You might have thousands of followers. You might get dozens of messages. But when was the last time you felt truly seen? Truly heard? When was the last time you had a conversation without checking your phone? Loneliness isn't just about being physically alone. It's about emotional disconnection. It's about the absence of depth in our relationships. It's about the lack of presence. The digital world gives us wide networks, but shallow roots. You can talk to 10 people a day and still feel isolated, because the quality of those connections matters more than the quantity. Digital overload tricks us into thinking we're reconnecting, when we're really just exchanging signals. Quick likes. Superficial comments. Instant replies. All noise. Very little substance. And your mind feels that emptiness. It senses the lack of human depth. And over time, that absence creates a silent despair. The fear of missing out, FOMO. One of the greatest sources of mental clutter today is comparison. On social media, you're not seeing real life. You're seeing highlights. Carefully edited, filtered, and selected moments meant to portray perfection. You scroll and see someone else's success, beauty, or lifestyle. And your brain, without your permission, starts comparing. Why don't I look like that? Why isn't my life that exciting? Why am I not doing more? This is the mental taxing called FOMO, the fear of missing out. It causes anxiety. It creates restlessness. It makes you feel behind, inadequate, or even shamed. But here's the truth. You're not behind. You're used to overwhelmed by a false narrative. And until you disconnect from that illusion, you will never truly reconnect with yourself. Digital dependency, when the tool becomes the master. Technology is not the enemy. It's a tool. But a tool, when misused, becomes a trap. Your devices were meant to serve you, not control you. And yet, most people can't go 30 minutes without checking their phones. They check it out of boredom. Out of habit. Out of discomfort with being alone with their own mind. Think about that. Most people are more comfortable with constant noise than with silence. More comfortable with distraction than with self-reflection. That is not connection. That is dependency. And like any form of addiction, digital addiction creates withdrawal symptoms. Irritability when you can't check your phone. Anxiety when you're offline. Restlessness during moments of stillness. Difficulty focusing on a single task. The compulsion to document instead of experience. These are not harmless habits. They are signs of a deeper issue. You've lost ownership of your attention. And attention is the most valuable thing you have. Reclaiming your attention. Digital minimalism. To detox your mind, you need to reclaim your mental space. That begins with reclaiming your attention. This is where the concept of digital minimalism comes in. It's not about abandoning technology. It's about using it with intention. Here are the first steps. 1. Audit your digital life. Take a hard look at how you spend your screen time. What apps do you use the most? What content do you consume? How do you feel after using them? 2. Identify what adds value. Not all digital consumption is toxic. But if it doesn't uplift, educate, or connect you in a meaningful way, question it. 3. Create boundaries. Set specific times for checking email or social media. Use do not disturb modes. Create phone-free zones, like your bedroom or the dinner table. 4. Embrace intentional disconnection. Take regular breaks from the digital world. Go for walks without your phone. Read physical books. Meditate. Journal. Sit in silence. Let your mind breathe. 5. Replace passive scrolling with active engagement. Instead of consuming endless content, create something. Write. Draw. Play music. Have a real conversation. Build something that comes from within you. The gift of presence. One of the most powerful things you can give yourself, and others, is presence. Not distracted attention. Not partial focus. But full, mindful presence. Presence heals. It deepens relationships. It increases your awareness. It calms your nervous system. It allows you to experience life in its fullness. But presence can only exist when distraction is removed. Digital overload kills presence. It fragments your mind. It steals your attention from the present moment and throws it into a whirlwind of artificial urgency. To detox your mind, you must return to the now. Breathe. Feel your surroundings. Listen to your thoughts. And choose to be here. That choice is a radical act in a world addicted to distraction. Digital Sabbaths, rebuilding mental strength. If you want to truly transform your relationship with technology, try this. Take one full day each week without screens. No social media. No email. No digital input. Let your brain reset. Let your nervous system recalibrate. Let your attention return to what really matters. You will notice something incredible. Your anxiety will drop. Your thoughts will slow down. Your focus will improve. Your sleep will be deeper. Your relationships will feel more alive. And most importantly, you will begin to feel more like yourself again. Because in the silence, in the stillness, in the absence of constant noise, you reconnect with your mind's natural state. Clarity. Redefining connection. Connection is not about how many people you interact with. It's about how deeply you experience the people, and the moments, that matter. Let go of the illusion that being connected digitally means being connected emotionally. Speak to someone in person. Look into their eyes. Listen without checking your phone. Be fully there. That is connection. And when you reconnect with others in real life, you also reconnect with yourself. You realize that your worth isn't measured in likes, views, or followers. You remember that joy doesn't come from comparison, but from presence. You discover that peace isn't found in a screen, but in silence. Final thoughts. You are not your notifications. You are not your inbox. You are not your to-do list. You are not your screen time, your online persona, or your digital footprint. You are a human being. Alive. Aware. Capable of deep presence and real joy. But to feel that fully, you must choose to disconnect. Not forever. Use the now. Enough to remember what your own thoughts sound like. Enough to reclaim your time, your focus, your energy. Enough to detox your mind from the digital overload that has hijacked your peace. Let go of the illusion of connection, and step into something real. It begins with one choice. Be where your feet are. Be in your life. Be in the moment. Chapter 3. Mental diet. What you feed your mind shapes your life. You are what you eat. That phrase, though typically applied to physical nutrition, is used as true, if not more so, when it comes to your mind. The thoughts you entertain, the information you consume, the conversations you engage in, the beliefs you reinforce, these are the nutrients, or the toxins, that shape your inner world. And your inner world defines the quality of your life. Your external circumstances matter far less than the way you interpret them. And that interpretation comes directly from your mental diet. So let's ask the fundamental question. What are you feeding your mind every day? The hidden influence of mental input. You wouldn't eat spoiled food knowingly. You wouldn't drink dirty water if you saw mud floating in it. And yet, we allow harmful information, negative ideas, and mental junk to pour into our consciousness every day without questioning it. We scroll through endless content without filtering. We absorb the fears, the outrage, the pessimism. We internalize the criticisms, the gossip, the judgment. And we wonder why we feel anxious, angry, sad, or empty. Your thoughts are not always your own. Many of them are seeds planted by what you consume, through media, culture, and conversations. If you don't consciously select your mental diet, someone else will do it for you. The algorithm will feed you more of what keeps you distracted. The news will feed you more of what keeps you afraid. The crowd will feed you more of what keeps you average. But you don't have to eat what's offered. You can choose what to consume. And when you do, your mind begins to change. You become sharper, calmer, more focused, more hopeful, more powerful. Garbage in, garbage out. Think of your mind as a garden. Every input is a seed. Some are weeds, doubt, fear, envy, resentment. Some are flowers, gratitude, peace, creativity, purpose. Whatever you plant regularly is what will grow. If you feed your mind negativity every day, don't be surprised when your perspective becomes negative. If you feed your mind trivial distractions, don't be surprised when you struggle to focus on deep or meaningful work. If you surround yourself with constant noise, don't be surprised when silence feels unbearable. Your outer world is often a reflection of your inner world. And your inner world is a reflection of your mental diet. This is why people who consistently feed their minds empowering thoughts, ideas, and visions tend to create extraordinary lives. It's not magic, it's mental nutrition. The 3 layers of mental food. Let's break down your mental diet into 3 layers. 1. Primary input, what you choose to consume. This is the most obvious layer. It includes the books you read, the videos you watch, the podcast you listen to, the articles, blogs, and news you consume, the social media content you scroll through. Each piece of content has an energy. Some inform, some inspire, some provoke thought. Others numb your brain and drain your soul. Begin asking yourself, does this content help me grow? Or does it distract me from my growth? A healthy mental diet includes content that nourishes you, educational, motivational, spiritual, philosophical, or practical content that uplifts you. That to me and everything needs to be serious. Entertainment has its place. But moderation matters. Choose what enters your mind like you choose what enters your body. 2. Secondary input, your conversations and environment. You might not realize it, but your environment feeds your mind too. The people you talk to. The conversations you participate in. The energy of the spaces you spend time in. If your social circle is filled with constant complaining, gossiping, or pessimism, your mind will absorb those frequencies. If your home is chaotic, cluttered, or noisy, your mental state will mirror that. If your work environment is high stress and low trust, it will leave a mark on your thoughts, even when you re off the clock. Sometimes, Detoxing your mind requires detoxing your environment. You don't need to cut everyone out of your life, but you don't need to create boundaries. Protect your peace. Surround yourself with voices that elevate you, not drain you. Speak less about problems and more about possibilities. Share ideas, not used opinions. Talk about visions, not used plans. Every conversation is an exchange of energy. Choose wisely. Trust tertiary input, your self-talk and inner narrative. This is the most subtle and most powerful layer. What do you say to yourself about yourself every day? I can't do this. I'm not good enough. They're better than me. I always mess things up. I'm so tired. So vain. So overwhelmed. These thoughts, though silent, create your internal world. And your internal world becomes your reality. Self-talk isn't just harmless chatter. It's programming. You are constantly programming your mind based on what you repeatedly think and say. So if you want to detox your mind, start by becoming aware of your inner voice. Is it kind? Is it encouraging? Is it disciplined? Is it hopeful? If not, change the script. Not by force, but by intention. Replace. I can't with I'm learning. I failed with I'm growing. I'm overwhelmed with I'm taking one step at a time. I'm not enough with I am becoming. This is mental nutrition at its deepest level. It's not just what the world tells you, it's what you tell yourself. Mindful consumption vs mindless ingestion. There is a difference between consuming and ingesting. Consuming is passive. You scroll, click, watch, and absorb without questioning. It's entertainment. It's habit. It's escape. Ingesting is intentional. You read with purpose. You reflect. You apply. You filter. To detox your mind, you must move from mindless consumption to mindful ingestion. Here's how. Set time aside each day for intentional reading or listening to quality content. Turn off notifications and create sacred space for deep learning. Write down what you learn. Reflect on it. Integrate it into your life. Limit consumption that don't add long-term value. Your time and attention are limited. Use them to nourish, not numb. What a healthy mental diet looks like. A healthy mental diet is not about perfection. It's about balance, intention, and alignment. Chapter 4. Emotional Detox. Releasing what no longer serves you. You can detox your mind without detoxing your emotions. Mental clutter don't exist in isolation. It is entangled with unresolved emotions, anger, guilt, fear, grief, shame, regret. These emotions, when not processed, become internal toxins. They linger. They fester. And over time, they shape how you see the world, how you treat others, and how you treat yourself. You might think you're just tired. But beneath that fatigue is suppressed emotion. You might think you're stuck. But beneath that stagnation is an old wound that never healed. You might think you're unmotivated. But beneath that numbness is buried grief or unspoken fear. Emotional toxins are not always loud. They don't scream. They whisper. They sit quietly in the background, influencing your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors in ways you can't see. That's why emotional detox is not optional, it's foundational. What is emotional build-up? Think of your emotional body like a container. Each experience you have adds to it. When you feel and express emotions in healthy ways, they move through you. But when you suppress, deny, or ignore them, they accumulate. That sarcastic comment you never addressed? Stored. That argument you avoided processing? Stored. That heartbreak you buried? Stored. That time you had to stay strong and didn't cry? Stored. It builds. Slowly. Quietly. Until the container overflows. Then it comes out as sudden outbursts. Constant irritation. Emotional numbness. Anxiety or panic. Chronic fatigue. Difficulty focusing. Emotional overreactions. These symptoms are not the problem. They are messengers. They are telling you, something inside needs to be felt, expressed, and released. Society's emotional repression. From an early age, many of us are taught to repress our emotions. We're told things like, don't cry. Stay strong. Don't be too sensitive. Get over it. As a result, we internalize the idea that emotions are weak, messy, or dangerous. We learn to pretend. To smile when we're hurting. To stay silent when we're scared. To push forward when we're breaking inside. But emotions are not weaknesses. They are signals. Indicators. Teachers. They are not meant to be buried. They are meant to be felt and moved. Just like your body detox strokes wet and digestion, your emotional body detox stroke feeling, expression, and awareness. If you block that process, you create a backlog. And that backlog becomes emotional weight you carry everywhere you go. How emotional toxins affect your mind. Unprocessed emotions cloud your mind. They distort your perception. They influence your behavior. They interfere with your peace. Resentment can make you bitter and suspicious. Shame can make you self-sabotage. Fear can make you stay small and avoid growth. Guilt can make you overcompensate and abandon yourself. Grief can make you numb to joy. You might not even realize it's happening. That's how subtle emotional build-up can be. It feels like you're normal. But it's not normal, it's stored pain. To detox your mind, you must give yourself permission to feel. And not use the comfortable emotions. The hard ones too. Permission to feel, the first step to emotional healing. Feeling is not the problem. Avoidance is. You were born with a full emotional spectrum for a reason. Every emotion has a purpose. Anger shows you where a boundary has been crossed. Sadness shows you where you need to grieve and let go. Fear shows you where you're being invited to grow. Joy shows you what lights you up. Guilt shows you where your values and actions are misaligned. When you stop judging your emotions, they become allies instead of enemies. Emotional detox begins with the question, what have I been avoiding feeling? Sit with that question. Let it breathe. What surfaces might surprise you? Emotional triggers as portals. Most people fear being triggered. But in truth, your triggers are your teachers. They show you where unhealed wounds live. If criticism makes you spiral, there might be a wound of unworthiness. If rejection crushes you, there might be a wound of abandonment. If control gives you safety, there might be a wound of betrayal. If silence makes you panic, there might be a wound of neglect. Triggers are not here to punish you. They are invitations. They point to something inside that is ready to be seen, felt, and released. When you become curious about your triggers instead of reactive, you reclaim your power. The power of expression. You cannot tell what you do not express. Expression doesn't always mean talking. It can mean writing, crying, screaming into a pillow, dancing, panting, singing, moving your body, sitting in silence and breathing deeply. Your body holds unprocessed emotion. That's why physical movement and breathwork can be powerful tools for emotional detox. Journaling can also be incredibly healing. Not for the sake of crafting beautiful sentences, but for emptying your mind onto paper. Let your thoughts bleed through ink. No judgment. No censorship. You be amazed how much lighter you feel after expressing what you've been holding. Forgiveness, the ultimate emotional cleanse. Forgiveness is not about condoning harm. It's about releasing yourself from the emotional prison of the past. Holding on to anger, resentment, or bitterness does not hurt the other person, it hurts you. It takes up mental space. It pollutes your energy. It keeps you tied to a wound. To forgive doesn't mean to forget. It means to untangle yourself from the emotional weight of what happened. It means sign. I no longer choose to carry this pain. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is yourself. Let go of the guilt for things you didn't know at the time. Let go of the shame for who you said to be. Let go of the judgment for mistakes made in survival mode. Forgiveness is a detox for the soul. It purifies your heart. It lightens your mind. Emotional boundaries. A vital part of emotional detox is learning to protect your emotional energy. That means creating clear boundaries. Saying no when something feels wrong. Not over-explaining yourself. Walking away from conversations that drain you. Not absorbing other people's emotions as your own.
Giving yourself permission to rest. Empaths and highly sensitive people often struggle with this. They feel deeply. They absorb emotional energy like a sponge. But without boundaries, that sensitivity becomes a curse instead of a gift. You are allowed to protect your peace. You don't owe anyone access to your emotional space. Especially not those who repeatedly cross your boundaries. Emotional minimalism. Just as physical minimalism is about letting go of what you don't need, emotional minimalism is about releasing emotional attachments that no longer serve you. Ask yourself, what emotions am I addicted to? What stories do I keep replaying that keep me in pain? What do I gain by holding on to this emotion? What would it feel like to release it? You don't have to carry every emotion forever. Some served a purpose. Some protected you. Some helped you survive. But you're not surviving anymore. You're healing. Let go. Practices for daily emotional detox. Here are some simple, powerful practices to integrate into your routine. Morning check-in. Before checking your phone, check in with your emotions. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Breath work. Use deep breathing to move emotional energy through your body. Movement, stretch, tense. Let your body express. Journaling. Free write your thoughts for 10 minutes a day. Crying. Let the tears flow. They're cleansing. Silence. Create space daily for quiet reflection. Gratitude. List 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude heals. Compassion. Speak to yourself like you would to a child. Gentle. Loving. Patient. The goal isn't to eliminate emotion. The goal is to process it in healthy ways so it doesn't control you. You are not your emotions. This is the most important truth of all. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. Your anger is not who you are. Your fear is not who you are. Your sadness, your grief, your shame, none of these define you. They are temporary. You are eternal. They are waves. You are the ocean. They are visitors. You are the home they pass through. And when you stop identifying with your emotions, you gain the power to move through them without being consumed by them. This is emotional liberation. This is clarity. This is freedom. Chapter 5. The Power of Mental Silence, Reclaiming Inner Peace in a Noisy World. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of noise. Noise from the outside world. Noise from other people's opinions. Noise from your own racing thoughts. We live in a world that fears silence. A world that values volume, distraction, stimulation. A world that celebrates the loudest voice in the room, the fastest response, the most noise-filled productivity. But silence, real, intentional, inner silence, is one of the most powerful tools you have to detox your mind. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. The mind's constant chatter. Close your eyes for a moment. Now listen. Can you hear the voice in your head? The one that narrates your life. The one that's always thinking, planning, worrying, judging, remembering, imagining. That voice never stops. It talks when you wake up. It talks while you're working. It talks when you're with others. And even when you lie down to rest, it keeps talking. Some people go their entire lives without realizing they are not the voice. They are the one hearing the voice. This inner chatter is not always helpful. In fact, most of it is repetitive, unnecessary, and disempowering. It creates anxiety about the future, regret about the past, worry about things that haven't happened, stress about things that don't matter. It becomes the background noise of your existence. And just like physical clutter clogs a room, mental chatter clogs your inner space. Why silence is so uncomfortable? If silence is so healing, Why do most people avoid it? Because silence is confronting. In silence, you come face to face with yourself, with your unresolved emotions, with your thoughts, with the truth. There are no distractions, no filters, no masks. It's just you, your breath, your mind, your body. For someone who's used to noise, silence feels threatening. Like a void, like boredom, like exposure. But in reality, silence is the portal to clarity, to inner peace, to healing. The discomfort is not from the silence. It's from everything the silence reveals. The science behind silence. Modern research backs what ancient wisdom has always known. Silence changes your brain. Just 2 hours of silence per day can lead to the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the region associated with learning, memory, and emotion. Silence lowers cortisol levels, reducing stress. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, allowing your body to rest and heal. It improves focus, attention, and creativity. It deepens emotional regulation and self-awareness. Silence doesn't just feel good, it rewires your brain. It clears the fog. It restores your nervous system. It gives your mind the space it needs to organize, recover, and rejuvenate. The art of doing nothing. In today's world, stillness is often mistaken for laziness. We are conditioned to equate movement with productivity, noise with meaning, action with value. But doing nothing isn't laziness. It's a skill, a discipline, a practice. Because in stillness, you begin to hear your own truth. You begin to notice what really matters. You begin to return to the natural rhythm of your mind and body. Your thoughts settle like mud in water. Your breathing slows. Your nervous system calms. And in that stillness, you realize something profound. Peace was always there. You just had to stop long enough to feel it. Creating mental silence in a loud world. You don't need to escape to a monastery to experience silence. You can create moments of stillness in your daily life, even in a noisy world. Start small. Start now. Here are ways to invite silence into your life. 1. Morning stillness. Before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, sit in silence. Just 5 minutes. Breathe. Listen. 2. Single tasking. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you shower, just feel the water. Don't multitask. Don't fill the moment with music, podcasts, or stimulation. Be fully present. 3. Nature immersion. Nature is silent in the most profound way. Not empty, but alive with a quiet rhythm. Go for a walk in nature. Leave your phone behind. Let your senses lead. For tech-free time, designate a time each day with no screens, no notifications, no noise. Let that time be sacred. 5. Breath awareness. Throughout the day, pause and become aware of your breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. This anchors you in the present moment. 6. Meditation. You don't need to be a monk to meditate. Just sit. Close your eyes. Watch your thoughts without engaging. Over time, the space between thoughts will expand. That's silence. Silence is not emptiness, it's fullness. When the world tells you to do more, say more, be more, silence reminds you that you are already enough. In silence, you remember that joy doesn't come from performance, but from presence. You remember that clarity doesn't come from thinking more, but from thinking less. You remember that truth doesn't scream, it whispers. And only in silence can you hear it. Silence as a form of strength. In a culture obsessed with reaction, silence is strength. You don't always need to respond. You don't always need to have an opinion. You don't always need to argue, explain, or defend. Silence is not weakness. It's restraint. It's awareness. It's sovereignty. When you practice silence, you reclaim control over your energy. You choose presence over performance, depth over noise, power over reaction. And that inner silence becomes your anchor, no matter how loud the world gets. Silence as a detox tool. Mental silence clears out overthinking, negative self-talk, emotional reactivity, stress from overstimulation, anxiety about things beyond your control. But most importantly, silence reconnects you with your essence. In the absence of all the noise, you meet your true self, not the version that's performing, pleasing, or pretending, but the version that simply is. That's where your strength lives. That's where your peace begins. The daily practice of inner stillness. Make silence a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Schedule it like a meeting. Protect it like a treasure. Enter it like a sacred space. Even 10 minutes a day can change everything. Because silence is not about doing nothing. It's about being everything you are, without distraction, without noise, without distortion. It's a reset button, a sanctuary, a mirror. And every time you return to it, you cleanse your mind a little more. Final thoughts. The sound of your own being. There is a sound beneath the noise. It's the sound of your own being. A quiet knowing. A deep presence. A peaceful rhythm. You won't find it in more information. You won't find it in more stimulation. You won't find it in someone else's voice. You'll find it in the silence. So be still. Be quiet. Be here. In that sacred silence, your mind remembers what it means to be free. Chapter 6. Reprogramming your mind, how to replace toxic thoughts with empowering beliefs. Your mind is not fixed. It is not permanent. It is not who you are. Your mind is a tool, a mechanism, a highly adaptable system of thoughts, associations, interpretations, and beliefs, most of which were programmed into you long before you were even aware of it. From the moment you were born, your brain began absorbing information from your environment, from your parents, from your school, from your culture, from the media, from your experiences, good and bad. Over time, these inputs formed patterns. And those patterns became beliefs. Beliefs about the world, about people, about what is possible, and most importantly, beliefs about yourself. But here's the truth most people never learn. You can reprogram your mind. You can overwrite limiting thoughts. You can challenge internalized lies. You can build new beliefs. And in doing so, you can change the way you think, feel, act, and live. What is mental programming? Mental programming is the subconscious framework through which you interpret reality. It's not what you see, it's how you see. For example, if you believe the world is unsafe, you'll find danger everywhere, even when there's none. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll sabotage success, no matter how hard you work. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll unconsciously push them away, even the ones who love you. Your mind will always seek to confirm what it already believes. This is called confirmation bias, the tendency to filter reality to match your existing beliefs. So if your beliefs are negative, limiting, or toxic, your mind will constantly find proof to support that negativity. And you'll live inside that self-constructed prison. But here's the good news. Beliefs are not facts. They are learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. Identifying toxic beliefs. Before you can reprogram your mind, you must identify the programs that are running. Ask yourself, what are the beliefs I have about myself that keep me stuck? What do I believe about love, money, success, failure, relationships, health, or happiness? Where did these beliefs come from? Are they serving me or limiting me? Would I teach these beliefs to someone I love? Examples of toxic mental programs include, I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. I always mess things up. People always leave me. I don't deserve happiness. I'll never change. It's too late for me. These are not truths. They are thought patterns. And thought patterns can be changed. The neuroplasticity of your brain. Your brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can change its structure and function based on new input and repeated experience. Every time you think a thought, you strengthen a neural pathway. Think the same thought over and over, and that pathway becomes dominant, like a mental highway. But if you stop using that pathway and start using a new one, the brain begins to rewire itself. This means that every time you replace a limiting thought with an empowering one, you are literally reshaping your brain. You are building new mental roads, new connections, new programs. And over time, those new programs become your new default. This is not just spiritual. It's biological. It's psychological. It's real. From reaction to rewriting. To reprogram your mind, You must become aware of your internal reactions. Notice when toxic thoughts arise. Don't judge them. Don't suppress them. Just observe. Become the witness. Then is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, question it. Is it absolutely true? Where did I learn it? What would I rather believe instead? What thought would feel more empowering right now? This is the beginning of mental reprogramming. Disruption followed by replacement. You disrupt the old pattern, and you replace it with a new one. But repetition is key. A single replacement thought won't change your brain. Consistent repetition will. The power of affirmations, done right. Affirmations are not just feel-good phrases. When used correctly, they are reprogramming tools. But they must be believable. Saying, "I'm a millionaire," when you're broke might backfire if your subconscious rejects it. Present tense. The brain responds best to now. "I am" is more effective than "I will be." Emotionally charged. The more emotion behind the affirmation, the stronger the neural encoding. Consistent. Repetition builds the new path. Examples of powerful reprogramming affirmations. I am enough just as I am. I release the need to prove my worth. I am safe to grow, change, and evolve. I allow abundance to flow into my life. I trust myself. I forgive myself for past mistakes. I am becoming stronger and clearer each day. Write them. Speak them. Feel them. The goal is not to convince the world, it's to convince your nervous system. Visualization and mental rehearsal. Another powerful reprogramming tool is visualization. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined experience and real experience. This means when you visualize success, healing, confidence, or calmness, your brain begins to create the neurological pathways as if it were already happening. Here's how to use visualization. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Picture yourself thinking, acting, and feeling how you want to be. Make the image vivid. Add color, sound, movement, emotion. Feel it in your body. Embody the feeling of that new identity. Practice daily. Even 5 minutes can rewire your brain over time. Visualization isn't fantasy. It's mental training. Olympic athletes use it. High performers use it. You can use it too. Creating new mental identities. The most effective reprogramming happens when you shift your identity, not just your behavior. Don't just try to act confident. Become someone who identifies as confident. Don't just try to be productive. Become someone who sees themselves as productive. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? What does that version of me think, feel, and do every day? What habits support that version of me? What thoughts reinforce that identity? Then, practice embodying that identity one thought, one decision, one moment at a time. You don't have to fake it. You just have to align with it. Letting go of the old program. Reprogramming also requires letting go. Letting go of the need to be right. Letting go of the identity you've outgrown. Letting go of stories that were never yours to carry. Letting go of past versions of yourself that were built in survival, not in truth. This is hard, because the mind clings to what is familiar, even if it's painful. But detoxing your mind means choosing healing over habit. It means saying, this thought is familiar, but it no longer serves me. This belief is old, but I choose something new. This identity kept me safe, but now I choose to expand. That's how transformation begins. Reprogramming through action. Don't wait for your mind to be fully reprogrammed before you take action. Action reprograms you too. When you take a bold step, even while afraid, you teach your mind, I am capable. When you speak up, even when your voice shakes, you teach your mind, I have a voice. When you follow through on a promise to yourself, you teach your mind, I am trustworthy. Every aligned action is a form of mental rewiring. So act now. Don't wait to feel perfect. Use action as a tool for change. Final thoughts. You are the programmer. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are not your beliefs. You are the builder of beliefs. You are not your past programs. You are the one with the power to rewrite them. Your mind is not a fixed script, it's an editable file. And every day, With every thought, word, and choice, you are programming something. So program love. Program strength. Program clarity. Program possibility. Program the life you actually want to live. Because once you reprogram your mind, the world around you starts to change, without needing to control it. And that is the ultimate detox. Chapter 6. Reprogramming Your Mind, How to Replace Toxic Thoughts with Empowering Beliefs. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that much of the way you think, the patterns you repeat, the doubts you entertain, the fears you react to, are not actually you. They're not who you truly are. They're programs. Lines of mental code installed through childhood, repetition, trauma, culture, media, family, and society. They've been running in the background of your life for so long, you started to believe they were part of your identity. But they're not. They're habits of thought. And like any habit, they can be replaced. You have the power to reprogram your mind. This chapter is about reclaiming that power. You've been programmed, but you can reprogram. From the moment you were born, your brain absorbed the world around you without filters. You watched how people behaved. You listened to how they spoke. You noticed how they reacted. And you formed mental shortcuts to make sense of it all. These shortcuts became beliefs. Some served you. Many didn't. Maybe someone made you feel unworthy, so you adopted the belief, I'm not good enough. Maybe you saw failure punished harshly, so you internalized, I must be perfect or I'll be rejected. Maybe love was conditional, so you learned, I have to earn affection by pleasing others. None of these thoughts are facts. They're just stories. Stories that got repeated until they felt like the truth. But here's what they really are, mental software written by other people. And you're allowed to update the code. The first step, awareness. You can't change what you don't recognize. So begin by paying attention. Every time you hear that critical voice in your head, pause and ask, whose voice is this really? Where did I first hear this? Is this thought helping me grow or keeping me small? When you bring light to a belief, it begins to lose its power. You'll start to see that many of your automatic thoughts aren't rooted in logic, they're rooted in fear. In old wounds. In unconscious repetition. Awareness breaks the trance. And from there, you get to choose something new. Identify your limiting core beliefs. Most toxic thoughts stem from just a few core beliefs. Here are some of the most common. I am not enough. I can't trust people. I'm destined to fail. I always mess things up. I don't deserve love or success. Nothing good lasts for me. I'm too broken to change. Now ask yourself, which of these do I secretly believe? Not what you say out loud. What do you actually feel in those quiet, private moments when nobody's watching? Be radically honest. Not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Because once you spot the belief, you can dismantle it. Replacing the old code, choosing new beliefs. Beliefs aren't removed. They're replaced. The brain doesn't do well with a blank slate. It needs something new to grab onto. That's why it's not enough to say, I don't want to believe I'm unworthy. You have to actively feed your mind something stronger. For example, replace I'm not enough with I am learning to value myself more each day. Replace I always mess things up with I grow stronger through every experience. Replace I don't deserve love with I am worthy of healthy, lasting love, starting with my own. This is not delusion. This is conscious programming. You are speaking to the part of your mind that's been waiting for new instructions. And over time, with repetition, those new beliefs start to take root. The role of emotion in mental reprogramming. The mind learns through repetition, yes, but also through emotion. The more emotional energy you attach to a belief, the more it sticks. This is why traumatic experiences often install powerful, limiting beliefs. They're charged with fear, shame, or pain. But the same mechanism works in reverse. You can attach emotion to new beliefs, joy, hope, excitement, peace, and anchor them deeply. By visualizing them, by feeling them, by speaking them out loud with conviction, by writing them in a journal until they become real, by associating them with moments of personal breakthrough or beauty. The more emotion you attach to a new belief, the faster it integrates. Don't wait for proof, be the proof. Most people wait for evidence before they allow themselves to believe something good. I'll believe I'm worthy once someone else chooses me. I'll believe I'm talented once I succeed. I'll believe I'm safe once nothing bad happens. But this keeps you trapped in a loop. You wait for your outer world to change before you change your mind. But your outer world reflects your mind. So reverse it. Choose the belief first. Then build evidence through action. Act like someone who is enough. Speak like someone who deserves respect. Walk like someone who trusts their path. Your identity is not a reaction. It's a decision. Make that decision before the world validates it. And soon, the world will catch up. Daily tools for mental reprogramming. Here are practical, simple tools to help you rewire your inner world. 1. Mental rehearsal. Every morning, close your eyes and visualize the person you want to be. See yourself thinking differently, responding with strength, showing up with calm and clarity. 2. Belief journaling. Write down the toxic belief you want to release. Then write its opposite. Reflect on how your life would change if the new belief were true. Anchor that vision. 3. Inner dialogue shift. Catch yourself mid-thought. If you hear, "I always mess up," respond internally, "No, I've made mistakes, but I'm learning and I'm getting stronger." Redirect. 4. Affirmations with feeling. Don't just repeat empty phrases. Choose one belief a week and embody it. Say it with breath, with your whole posture, with emotion. 5. Conscious consumption. Surround yourself with voices that reinforce your new beliefs. Read books. Watch content. Follow people who reflect the mindset you want to live in. Repetition is key. Emotion is fuel. Consistency is power. What happens when you reprogram your mind? You start to notice subtle but powerful shifts. You respond to challenges with curiosity instead of panic. You stop apologizing for your existence. You trust your intuition instead of second-guessing everything. You stop tolerating what drains you. You feel more like yourself, not the version molded by fear. You act without needing permission. You experience peace without needing to control everything. This is the real result of reprogramming your mind. Not just thinking positively, but becoming free. Free from fear. Free from the past. Free from self-doubt. Not perfectly. Not instantly. But consistently. And that consistency transforms everything. Final thought. You are the one who programs the machine. You're not a prisoner of your thoughts. You're the thinker. You're not the software. You're the programmer. You get to choose what runs in the background of your life. And every moment, every decision, every reaction, every quiet word you say to yourself is an opportunity to write new code. So start now. Not with perfection, but with presence. Catch the thought. Interrupt the pattern. Replace the lie. Install the truth. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your programming. You are the one who can change it all. And you just did, by listening, by learning, and by choosing again. Chapter 7. Protecting your peace, setting boundaries to guard your mind. You've started clearing the clutter from your mind. You've begun replacing toxic thoughts with empowering beliefs. But now comes something just as important, maybe even more important. Protecting the peace you've worked so hard to find. Because detoxing your mind is not a one-time cleanse. It's a continuous practice. And the truth is, no matter how much inner work you do, the world around you will keep testing your limits, unless you learn to set clear, strong, consistent boundaries. This chapter is about protecting your mental space, your emotional energy, and your inner peace like they are sacred. Because they are. What are boundaries, really? Boundaries are not walls. They're not harsh lines drawn to keep people out. Boundaries are clarity. They are a clear understanding of what you allow into your life and what you don't. They define what energy you permit around you, what behaviors you tolerate, how much access others have to your time, thoughts, and emotions, what kind of conversations you engage in, how you protect your focus and mental health. Think of boundaries as filters. They don't block everything. They let in what's clean, helpful, respectful, and block what's toxic, harmful, or overwhelming. And here's something many people forget. Boundaries aren't just for others. They're for yourself too. You need to set limits not only on external relationships, but also on your own behaviors, habits, and mental tendencies. Signs you need better boundaries. You don't need to wait for a crisis to realize your boundaries are weak. Your mind and body are already giving you signals. You feel mentally drained after certain conversations. You say yes when you mean no, and resent it later. You absorb other people's emotions and carry them as your own. You avoid confrontation because you fear being disliked. You feel responsible for everyone else's mood. You feel guilty for resting, saying no, or prioritizing yourself. You constantly explain or justify your decisions. You feel on edge or overwhelmed without knowing exactly why. These aren't personality traits. They're signs that your energetic field is wide open and unprotected. Boundaries are how you take responsibility for your mental health without apologizing for it. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. When you set a boundary, you're not rejecting someone else. You're accepting yourself. You're saying, I honor my energy. I trust my limits. I won't abandon myself to make others comfortable. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries may resist when you set them. That's okay. You're not here to manage their discomfort. You're here to protect your growth. And the more you respect your own boundaries, the more the world begins to reflect that back. Mental boundaries, guarding your mind from overload. Let's start with mental boundaries, the ones that protect your attention, your focus, and your clarity. In a distracted world, attention is currency. Everyone wants a piece of it. If you don't guard it, others will spend it for you. Here's how to build strong mental boundaries. 1. Limit your access to low-quality input. If it drains you, triggers you, or leaves you feeling empty, cut it off. That includes news, social media, gossip, and toxic conversations. 2. Say no to urgency culture. Not every message requires an instant reply. Not every problem needs your immediate energy. Slow down. You're allowed to respond on your terms. 3. Schedule mental white space. Protect time where your brain can rest. No stimulation. No noise. Just stillness. This time isn't wasted, it's essential for clarity. 4. Reduce decision fatigue. Make fewer decisions about things that don't matter. Simplify your environment. Free up mental energy for what actually counts. Mental clarity is not a luxury, it's the foundation of a peaceful life. Emotional boundaries. Protecting your energy from emotional drain. Some people leave you feeling uplifted. Others leave you emotionally exhausted. This isn't random. It's energetic. Every conversation is an emotional transaction. If you're constantly left feeling depleted, it's time to check your emotional boundaries. 1. Don't take responsibility for other people's feelings. You can be compassionate without carrying their pain. You can listen without absorbing. You can care without rescuing. 2. Don't explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. If someone's goal is to argue, not understand, stop wasting your breath. Peace is more valuable than being right. 3. Walk away from emotional manipulation. Guilt tripping, gaslighting, passive aggressiveness. These are signs of unhealthy dynamics. Distance is a form of self-respect. 4. Honor your emotional truth. If something feels off, it probably is. You don't need external validation to honor your own boundaries. Your emotional space is sacred. Treat it that way. Social boundaries. Redefining access to your life. Not everyone deserves full access to you. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. Ask yourself, who drains my energy? Who supports my growth? Who constantly crosses my boundaries? Verbally, energetically, emotionally? Who shows me respect without needing to be reminded? Then act accordingly. You're allowed to unfollow, mute, or block people who affect your mental state. Step back from friendships that no longer align. Leave group chats or conversations that bring stress. Protect your weekends, mornings, or evenings from unwanted intrusion. Say, I'm not available for that conversation right now without guilt. The more you align your environment with your values, the less mental detoxing you'll need. Internal boundaries, managing your own habits and thoughts. Your mind also needs protection from. It's not just about others crossing your boundaries. It's about you crossing your own. Examples of internal boundary violations. Checking your phone first thing in the morning, flooding your brain with noise. Overcommitting, knowing it will burn you out. Ignoring your need for rest. Constantly criticizing yourself with negative self-talk. Letting your inner saboteur hijack your focus. You must become your own protector. That means saying, "No, I will not spiral into worry today. No, I don't need to check that app right now. No, I won't engage in that draining thought pattern again. Yes, I deserve rest. Yes, I deserve peace, even if everything isn't perfect." The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how the world treats you. Boundary setting without guilt. If the idea of setting boundaries makes you feel guilty, here's something to remember. Guilt is not a signal that you're doing something wrong. Often, it's just a sign that you're doing something new. You're interrupting a pattern of self-abandonment. You're breaking the cycle of people-pleasing. You're teaching your nervous system that peace doesn't require sacrifice. That discomfort? It's growth. You are not being selfish. You're being sovereign. You are not pushing people away. You're creating space for real connection with those who respect your energy. How to set a boundary without drama. Setting a boundary doesn't need to be dramatic, emotional, or confrontational. Here's a simple formula. State your need or limit clearly. Use calm, direct language. Don't over-explain. Stick to it, consistently. Examples. I'm not available to talk about that right now. Please don't raise your voice at me. If it continues, I'll need to walk away. I've decided to keep my weekends for rest. That topic makes me uncomfortable, so I'll step out of the conversation. I need time to process this before I respond. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about controlling what you accept. Final thought. Peace is a daily choice. Protecting your peace doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means designing your inner and outer world so that peace becomes your default, not something you have to chase. Boundaries are not barriers to love. They are bridges to healthy love. They are not restrictions. They are the conditions in which your highest self can breathe. And the more you honor your boundaries, the more your mind will relax, because it knows it's safe. It knows it's respected. It knows that you have your own back. And that is the most powerful kind of mental freedom. Chapter 8. Declutter your inner world, simplifying to make space for clarity. Clarity isn't something you find. It's something you create. It doesn't appear by accident. It emerges when you remove what no longer serves you, when you let go of the mental, emotional, and energetic clutter that clouds your perception, distorts your focus, and drowns your peace. In a world that glorifies more information, more opinions, more stuff, more urgency, true power comes from less. Less noise. Less distraction. Less complication. This chapter is about mental minimalism, about simplifying your inner world so that what really matters can finally breathe. Because clarity is not hidden. It's buried under everything that doesn't belong. Mental clutter, the invisible weight you carry. You already know what physical clutter looks like. A messy room, a chaotic desk, a disorganized home. It creates stress. It's overwhelming. It makes it hard to function. But mental clutter is trickier. It's invisible, but just as heavy. It's the dozens of unfinished thoughts circling your brain. It's the internal pressure to do more, be more, prove more. It's the mental loops of regret, what-ifs, and overanalysis. It's the constant self-questioning and low-level anxiety that never quite goes away. And the more cluttered your mind is, the harder it is to make clear decisions. Stay calm in uncertainty. Connect with your intuition. Stay focused on what matters. Feel emotionally regulated. Your brain is not meant to carry everything. It needs space. Just like your lungs need air. Decluttering your inner world gives you that space. The real cost of too much. More isn't always better. In fact, the addiction to more is one of the greatest threats to mental clarity. More apps. More tabs. More opinions. More data. More goals. More comparisons. More things to fix, check, track, and improve. But here's the secret. Clarity doesn't come from adding. It comes from subtracting, removing the excess, letting go of the non-essential, saying no to what doesn't align. And this doesn't mean you abandon ambition. It means you direct it. Because when your energy is scattered across 100 things, nothing gets your best. But when it's focused, simplified, and aligned, you become unstoppable. Simplify your thoughts. Let's start at the source, your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your emotions, and your emotions shape your experience. But most of your thoughts aren't new. They're recycled, automatic, and unexamined. If you want clarity, you must start decluttering your mental narrative. Here's how. 1. Identify recurring thoughts. What thoughts keep showing up day after day? Are they empowering or draining? 2. Question their truth. Ask, is this thought based on fact or fear? Is it helping me or limiting me? 3. Drop what's unnecessary. Not every thought deserves your attention. You can choose to let some go. Not every mental thread needs to be pulled. 4. Use mental bookmarks. When your mind is racing with ideas, write them down. Get them out of your head. Free the space. 5. Create thought rituals. Journal in the morning. Meditate at night. Build space to clear the mind, not just fill it. A simplified mind is a powerful mind. It doesn't mean you think less. It means you think better. Declutter your goals. One reason we feel overwhelmed is because we chase too many outcomes at once. You want to grow your career, and improve your relationships, and master 5 new skills, to meditate more, and write a book, and launch a business, and fix your sleep, and save the world. Ambition is beautiful, but without focus, it becomes chaos. Try this. Choose one primary goal per season, not 10. What's the one thing that, if I focused on it fully, would make everything else easier? What's most aligned with who I want to become right now? Then let the other goals rest. Not abandoned, just paused. Simplify your direction to amplify your progress. Emotional minimalism, letting go of stories. Your emotional world can get cluttered too, not just with feelings, but with stories you carry. Stories like, I always have to be the strong one. I can't let people down. If I rest, I'll fall behind. I have to do it all alone. If I say no, I'll be rejected. These are not facts. They're inherited scripts. Emotional programs. And they take up mental space, space you need for presence, creativity, and calm. Ask yourself, what emotional roles am I stuck in? What stories am I tired of carrying? Who gave me those stories, and do I still want to live by them? You don't need to fight every story. Just stop feeding it. Drop the mask. Drop the pressure. Drop the obligation to be everything for everyone. Emotional freedom begins where unnecessary stories end. Declutter your inputs. Every time you consume information, you give your brain something to process. Most people are drowning in input and starving for insight. Simplify your mental diet. Unsubscribe from noise. Mute voices that drain you. Take breaks from social media and 24/7 news. Protect your mornings and evenings from digital invasion. Replace quantity with quality. You don't need more content. You need more clarity, and that comes from silence, reflection, and selective attention. Give your mind a chance to breathe between each intake. Energy management. Focus over hustle. You can't detox your mind if you're burning yourself out. Busyness is not clarity. It's a form of mental avoidance. Simplifying your calendar, your commitments, and your expectations is not weakness. It's wisdom. Here's how. Review your weekly schedule. What can you eliminate, delegate, or delay? Build in white space. Time with nothing scheduled. Time to think, recharge, reset. Stop overcommitting to things out of guilt. Leave room for slowness. For creativity. For spontaneity. Say no more often, not because you're rude, but because you're clear. Focus is a superpower, and simplicity is its fuel. Clarity through stillness. At the heart of all simplification is stillness. Chapter 9. Mental discipline, training your focus, thoughts, and inner strength. Discipline is often misunderstood. People hear the word and think of punishment, of force, of something rigid and joyless. But real discipline isn't about control. It's about freedom. The freedom to focus. The freedom to choose your thoughts. The freedom to act with intention instead of reaction. Mental discipline is the foundation of a detoxed mind. Without it, clarity fades. Without it, all the effort you've made to cleanse your inner world can slowly unravel. This chapter is about building the kind of inner discipline that helps you stay strong, focused, and grounded even when life gets chaotic. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your training. What is mental discipline? Mental discipline is the ability to direct your mind, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. It's the skill of staying focused when you're distracted. It's the strength to pause before reacting. It's the commitment to think thoughts that serve you, not sabotage you. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about controlling every thought. It's about noticing when your mind slips and bringing it back. It's not about suppression. It's about conscious redirection. You don't need to fight your mind. You just need to train it. The undisciplined mind. An undisciplined mind is like an untrained puppy. It runs in every direction, chases every noise, responds to every trigger. It's reactive, impulsive, easily overwhelmed, and it's exhausting to live with. Without discipline, your mind reacts emotionally instead of calmly, believes every thought it has, gets pulled into every distraction, struggles to follow through on intentions, repeats negative loops without resistance, loses its sense of direction and purpose. The undisciplined mind is not evil, it's just untrained. And training doesn't require force. It requires practice. Your mind is a muscle. Just like your body gets stronger with resistance, your mind strengthens when challenged. Every time you resist an unhelpful thought, you build mental strength. Every time you focus despite distractions, you increase your mental stamina. Every time you sit with discomfort instead of running from it, you become more grounded. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And you don't need hours a day to do it. You just need consistent, intentional reps. The power of daily mental training. You brush your teeth daily to maintain physical hygiene. You can train your mind daily to maintain mental hygiene. Here's how. 1. Morning focus practice. Start each day with 5 minutes of intentional focus. No phone. No noise. Just sit. Breathe. Watch your thoughts. Bring your attention back to your breath each time it wanders. This single practice strengthens attention like nothing else. 2. Thought observation. Throughout the day, pause and notice your thoughts. Ask, is this helpful? Is this true? Do I want to keep thinking this? If not, release it. Choose again. 3. Mental rehearsal. Visualize yourself succeeding, responding calmly, focusing deeply, feeling strong. Your brain responds to mental practice as powerfully as it does to physical action. 4. Delay your reaction. When something triggers you, wait 5 seconds before responding. In those 5 seconds, you regain control. You step out of automatic behavior. 5. End-of-day review. Reflect. Where did I lose focus today? Where did I stay present? This isn't to judge, it's to become aware. Awareness builds discipline. These small, consistent actions train your mind to be responsive, not reactive. Centered, not scattered. Mental discipline in the face of discomfort. One of the greatest signs of a disciplined mind is how you respond to discomfort. Because discomfort will come. A stressful conversation. A delayed goal. A wave of fear or sadness. A moment of rejection. The difficult choice. An undisciplined mind runs from these moments. It numbs, distracts, lashes out, or spirals. A disciplined mind breathes. It pauses. It observes. It chooses the higher response, even when it's hard. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means being strong enough to feel fully without being controlled by what you feel. That's real strength. Discipline is not rigidity, it's alignment. Discipline doesn't mean forcing yourself to follow unrealistic rules. It means acting in alignment with your values, especially when it's inconvenient. Discipline is choosing not to engage in gossip, even when it's tempting. Discipline is turning off the phone when your nervous system needs silence. Discipline is saying no to another commitment when your body says it needs rest. Discipline is following through on your word to yourself, even when no one else is watching. This kind of discipline creates self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of mental peace. Because when you trust yourself, your mind can rest. Focus, the superpower of a disciplined mind. Focus is not about willpower. It's about training your attention. In a world designed to hijack your focus, choosing where you place your attention is an act of revolution. Here's how to strengthen your focus muscle. Work in blocks. Set a timer for 25 or 50 minutes. One task. No interruptions. Eliminate distractions. Turn off notifications. Silence your phone. Create a clean workspace. Choose one priority. Don't try to do everything. Choose one thing that matters and give it your full presence. Take breaks intentionally. Breathe. Then return. Protect your mornings. Start the day with intention, not reaction. No emails or social media for the first hour. Focused energy is powerful energy. It gets more done in less time. And it feeds your sense of purpose. The discipline to say no. Every yes you give is a no to something else. A disciplined mind understands this. It doesn't say yes out of guilt. It doesn't chase every opportunity. It doesn't let urgency override wisdom. It protects energy. It honors capacity. It says no, clearly, kindly, and firmly, when needed. This kind of discipline creates boundaries that allow your mind to thrive. Because peace isn't found in saying yes to everything. Peace is found in choosing wisely. Training inner strength. Mental discipline isn't just about focus or habits. It's about resilience. Resilience is your capacity to stay calm under pressure, to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going when things get hard. Here's how to build it. Embrace small discomforts daily. Take cold showers. Practice silence. Wake up earlier. Train your mind to stay steady under pressure. Reflect on your struggles. Every time you've survived pain, you've built strength. Speak to yourself like a leader. Your inner dialogue should sound like someone who believes in your strength, even when you doubt it. Keep promises to yourself. Start small. Build momentum. When you show yourself that your word means something, you become unstoppable. Resilience is not about avoiding struggle. It's about becoming stronger than the struggle. Final thought. You are the one in charge. A disciplined mind doesn't mean you never feel fear, sadness, doubt, or frustration. It means you don't live there. You notice those feelings. You honor them. Then you move forward, because you've trained your mind to lead, not follow. Discipline is love in action. It's you choosing peace over chaos, truth over comfort, clarity over convenience, yourself over your patterns. And every time you do, your mind becomes clearer, stronger, quieter, braver. So keep training. One breath, one choice, one thought at a time. You are not at the mercy of your mind. You are the master of it.